Sword of the Sea is one of those very few games where I genuinely believe it should be experienced rather than watched. So I'm going to spend the next 10-ish minutes trying to convince you why you should go turn on your PS5, free up some storage, and experience what Sword of the Sea has to offer you. And if you're not on PlayStation, then just open your WAD, because the PS5 really has no games. As you've just seen, the game opens up with a single droplet of water landing on the Wanderer, that's this guy's head, awakening him from his presumably long rest. Now flexible and with the aid of a new tool, the awakened warrior journeys out of a cave he's found himself in. And saying that out loud, the Breath of the Wild-isms are apparent, but I promise that they end there. As while Link got an iPad mini, the Wanderer gets a flying fucking sword. And here come the metaphorisms. Seriously though, this is an amazing way to open up your game. Within the first 30 seconds, Giant Squid Studios shows us the awe-inducing sight of the sea consuming the darkness, reflecting the tiniest glint of light into something beautiful. But then, in the following scene, that almost radiant water is gone. We are trapped in a cave, just like the many stone statues that decorate its emptiness. And just by looking, you can feel how long these statues have been waiting here. How long you might be waiting here. But then the camera pans upwards and we see a single droplet of water trickling off the cave ceiling, freeing one of the statues. Then within seconds, that almost claustrophobic feeling is gone as the statue floods with colour, and ironically, his head sets on fire. And just like that, the game has begun, as the Wanderer rides his sword gliding through the cave and into the unknown. This opening works so well as those two very contrasting scenes give us the overall theme of the game. That being, life. As the Wanderer exits the cave, he finds himself hovering above a desert, but something about it is off. The sand flows and churns like water, and there's not a single living thing in sight, but we do see signs of life. Gliding past the structures of what seem to be a dead civilization, we find something glowing on the back of a pillar. And interacting with it brings life back to the area as the sand defaults back to water, allowing us to see more of the structure hidden beneath the sand. This is then followed with the once dead sea life beginning to swim through the air, and the sea stretches out, forming a path for the Wanderer to take. And that's more or less Sword of the Sea's entire gameplay loop. You go from one big beautiful area to another, bringing life back by solving environmental puzzles and interacting with these barnacle thingies. Which, saying that out loud, admittedly sounds like it'll get old quick, but I promise you it doesn't. As every time I completed one of these puzzles and brought life back to an area, I had to go back and see how the world had changed. And completely ignoring the visual change, the way the music swells up, almost matching the player's curiosity, is amazing. Then matching that with the insane speed boost that comes from gliding across the sea is incredible. The game feels amazing to play. Not only is the world changing, but the way you interact with it is too. It's an incredible gameplay loop that gets better as you progress further into the game, with each area having more and more to interact with. This game is an example of extrinsic motivation at its best. Now let me explain what that means. It's a common belief held by psychologists that our motivations for doing anything can be split up into two categories, intrinsic and extrinsic. The former refers to doing something for your own personal sense of satisfaction. For a real-world example, something like reading a book. And for a video game example, I'd say something like Minecraft, as you don't need to build the bop house to survive the night, you can just dig 3 blocks down and you'll survive. So the thing driving you to build isn't an objective on the left-hand side of the screen telling you how to progress, it's the feeling of fulfilling your own creativity. Now going back to the latter, extrinsic motivation refers to doing something for an external reason, like a reward. An easy real-world example of this is a job. Doing something you wouldn't necessarily be doing if you weren't getting rewarded for it. A video game example of this would be something like getting a skill point for clearing an outpost in Horizon Forbidden West, getting a weapon in the Suicide Squad for completing one of the game's 3 objectives, and even getting a Battle Pass reward for leveling up in Fortnite. These 3 are all examples of extrinsic motivators. And to dig a little deeper, Aloy getting stronger and unlocking new abilities is a decent motivator, as it changes the player's experience, giving them more tools for combat and stealth. Same goes for a Battle Pass reward in Fortnite, as I am unbiased and clearly not in debt to Epic Games. Seriously though, the game I consider to be a bad example of an extrinsic motivator is the Suicide Squad, as the easiest direction to punch in is downwards. In the Suicide Squad, most of your rewards for completing the game's side content will be currency for skins, or even worse, one of a dozen weapons with the only thing separating them is an incremental stat difference and how close you have to press shoot. never really changing the gameplay, just giving you the illusion of a meaningful reward with a million fucking numbers on screen. That's why Sword of the Sea is so refreshing, especially when you compare it side by side with looter shooter slop like that. The almost constant visual, musical, and oh yeah, I forgot skills. When you restore the sea to an area, it fills up with these little gold chunks that you can give to this creepy chap, and in exchange he'll teach you how to do a kickflip and some other tricks. Don't tell me how he knows how to skate, I'm not going to ask. These are pretty cool. They don't really change up the gameplay that much, but they give you something to do while you're in the air other than just looking at the game's pretty environments. Which is my half-decent segue into my next topic, the visuals. The world you surf around in is this amazing mix of Ponyo and Doom.
Beer is the mind chiller.
And you'd think too that Giant Squid Studios would pick the easy option. To further emphasize how good the water looks, they'd make the sand look like shit, with desaturated colours. But nope. Every surface you glide across in this game is so vibrant, and this decision makes it so every environment you find yourself in will complement the sea perfectly. The sand, for example, being a bright orange, and everything the sand has consumed having an orange hue to it. So when you bring in the gorgeous green and blues that come with the sea, you don't just have a water area and a sand area, you have an oasis. These two colour palettes come together and elevate each other to make something beautiful. I could be crude and say this game is an orgasm for the senses, but it's more than that. The way you can hear grains of sand colliding with the bottom of your sword, that feeling of acceleration when you surf over water, never getting old, and the amazing soundtrack that is practically adapting to your feelings as you play. This game delivers more than just an orgasm. This game is a sensual massage between the cleavage of art. And guess what? The bra is still on. This game has so much to show you. The only question is, will you let it? Sword of the Sea is a truly brilliant game, and something you should definitely give your time to. Within the first minute, you're given free reign to actually play and enjoy the game. No huge intro cutscene, no long tutorials, no fluff, you're just immediately in the action. And also the story, which is surprisingly really good and quite satisfying to follow. As to find out how the world ended up like this, you'll have to go out of your way and explore each area to find these mural tablet things and read the lore for yourself. Just like Dark Souls. If you do play this game, definitely try to find these, as the story is quite interesting, and it even has a decent twist about halfway through. To be honest, this was my first time playing a game by Giant Squid Studios. For as pretentious as I am, I have not played Abzu or The Pathless, but there'll definitely be ones I'll be visiting in the future, and if they're even as half as good as Sword of the Sea, then I will definitely make a video on them. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I hope I didn't give away too much about the later half of the game, because Sword of the Sea gets better with each minute you spend playing it, and some of the later areas are... Wait, what's another adjective for brilliant? Luminous. They're pretty luminous. But yeah, I can't recommend this game enough, especially after finishing it, as it's pretty amazing to have seen all these truly awesome sights and watched that final cutscene, and then to remember that this all started with a single drop of water. And maybe that's all life needs to start something brilliant. Yeah, so that was the video. Again, I got a better microphone, obviously. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't mind, please give some feedback in the comments. I promise, I think the next video will be a lot longer. I'm working on like another long form one, a long one. So yeah, have a good one. Thanks for clicking on the video. Please like, and if you have any feedback at all, feel free to comment. I promise to reply. Thank you kindly, and have a good day.